Well, hello, Benjies. Welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, or you can call me Randy, and I am a speaker, and a trainer, and a podcaster. And on our show, we have two exceptional co-hosts. My first co-host, she is no stranger to the world out there. She is our actress. She's a writer. She is a director. Please say what's up to the people, Miss Courtney Scott, right?
Hello, hello.
And this next guy, if you've been a fan of this show, which I hope you have been, you already know him. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's a game designer. He's part owner of the Geekish Network. Say what's up to the people, Chuck.
What it do?
And we are the Binge-Worthy Podcast. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody holding up good?
Doing well.
Yeah, pretty good.
Good. Well, the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series. And then we come right here to talk about that series. At the beginning of the show, we will rate it based on our unique binge-worthy scale. Then we engage in conversation. We talk about the characters, we talk about the plots, we talked about the design, the full spectrum, and the overall quality of the show. And at the end, we will re-rate it. Now, sometimes our co-hosts can influence us to change our original rating. Sometimes they can influence us to lift it up, and other times it just drags it all the way down to the floor. Speaking of our unique binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5, that is what we call a full binge out. That means that this property is outstanding. It is water cooler conversation. It is one of those things that you cannot miss. At a number 4, we call that a full meal. Full meal, not quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in watching it. At a number 3, we refer to that as a mini meal. Now, a mini meal, it is not bad. It's just not good either. It is kind of, Courtney always says it's just a bland TV dinner, and I say without all the Lyris seasoning. At a number 2 is what we call a snack. A snack is something you watch it, but it provides no nutritional value or no good quality value. You're just eating it and consuming it because nothing else is available. I always say it's that time when football season is over with and basketball season is over with and there's nothing new on any of the streaming services. It's just boring ass baseball. And at a number 1, it's what we call a cringe-worthy. A cringe-worthy just means this is some old bullshit. And why the hell did I watch it? Tonight, we are going to be evaluating the Imperfects. Netflix's The Imperfects. So the premise is 3 Seattle-based adults, a comic book artist, and I don't know what that is, a singer, are turned into monsters after undergoing an experimental gene therapy. So what we are going to do right now is evaluate it. And we're going to start with you, Chuck. We're going to start with you this time, Chuck. How are you going to rate the Imperfects?
I would say mini meal.
Okay.
I watched the whole entire show. The characters, every time, sometimes I liked them, most times I didn't. And then there's all at different times. So, but I like the premise of the show. I like what the show was about, but it felt like something I would see on the after school special or something. It was weird. It was a weird show. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right, Courtney, we're going to jump to you now. How are you going to rate the Imperfects?
It was imperfect. Like my co-hosts, I Honestly, it was some horse shit. It was all over the place. It was like it was just kind of like a hot mess. Like I really was rooting for it because I did like the premise, and it was a different take on uh enhanced individuals. But it was very like after schooly, and
Mm-hmm.
not in a good way, like very free form, but not formed, because there were things that came up and just kind of started happening, and I'm like, what? I don't understand. And then I didn't really care to like rewind and try and figure out what I understood. I mean, there was just so many holes for me. I really wanted to say it was a mini meal, but it's got to be a snack for me, just because the
Mm.
characters got on my nerves. Like just I wanted so much for them to do better. Like there's one actress, the actress that played Tilda. That was like if Anne Hathaway and Kristen Ritter had a baby. That's who she was.
Mhm.
That's who she was.
Mm.
And I found her interesting um after she stopped feeling sorry for herself, but not enough.
Okay, so you got it as a snack. Okay, I will jump in here. So we are in the era of like superheroes, the last 10 years or so. Now, I don't know quite where we are in that era. Are we on the upcline, the culmination, or the decline? But we're definitely in the era of superheroes. And for me, just my personal opinion, if you're going to do superhero or enhanced ability kind of show, movie, series, it has to have two things. It has to have a very high value in spectacle, like it's just amazing, the visuals, or it has to have a good story and characters that I connect with. And if one of them are weak, let's say if the story is not very strong, then the spectacle has to be that much better. Or if the spectacle is not strong, the story has to be. Like last week, we watched was it in runners,
Edge
cyberpunk,
runner.
Sides. Yeah.
yeah, cyberpunk edge runners. And while the story wasn't good, the spectacle to me was great, so it helped it for me. With this series, I find we got neither spectacle nor an interesting story. It just did not connect with me at all. And you all said after school special, I thought like a poor level CW, except for they cursed on it. And I was just like, I'm not connecting with anybody here. So I was disappointed with it. The only reason I watched it was because we were doing the show and it was a struggle. I still don't even know if I finished it all. I think I got to episode 10. It was a struggle. I'm not going to give it a cringe worthy because it wasn't the worst thing we did, but I only watched it to fulfill the commitment to this show. So it's the definition of a snack to me. So I came in at a complete
Hmm.
snack for it. So
Yeah,
that was,
I watched it on fast speed on my laptop in order to finish it.
yeah,
So,
I just, ugh.
you
So,
know,
I wanted to see the end. I watched it on normal speed and I watched it all in a day. And I just wanted to see the end, see what happened.
I hear you.
There's
I
certain
feel
things I
like,
liked about it. So yeah.
I feel like, and let's talk about it.
there's certain things I liked too. I agree with that statement.
So we gave come in at a 2.33, so that's right at a snack for this one. All right. So let's talk about this. I don't even know where to begin. So Chuck, we didn't get a lot of special effects with this. We got some. Do you think they made good use of the special effects and the visuals that
Oh
we had for
no,
this?
it looked like something from like 2010. Um, the best special effect they had was the pheromones, and maybe the eye coloring. But I did like their take on the succubus and on the banshee and the chupacabra. I think they did that all wrong. I think
I
that
don't
was a missed opportunity.
I don't think you can really call her a succubus, because a succubus uses sex in
Yes,
order to
sex.
like
Yeah.
Like this
That
was just pheromone, like it was mind control
yeah,
or emotional
but
control.
some succubus use pheromones too on people as
Did
I
well.
thought they used
okay.
magic. So just
Yeah,
is it
Well, I thought
more?
there was sex involved. I thought it was
no,
like,
the succubus has to be sexy.
yeah.
And Abby probably would have been sexy if she wasn't a nerd in school. Now, I kind of like that take. Like, oh, it's kind of like a banshee is usually gorgeous, and Dilda's definitely not that. And like a blues singer, like banshees are usually mellow.
And I didn't see like if there are supposed to be like
See,
seductive. I didn't see that.
no, she
And I mean,
wasn't. She
I
wasn't.
like
She
I
wasn't
like the
remotely
character
seductive.
herself, but like seductive was not her.
No,
At all.
I think that's what's interesting because I think all the people were opposite of what they're supposed to be. It's like a chupacabra is supposed to be aggressive, and Juan's definitely not aggressive. Tilda's
He
supposed to be
was
like
very sweet.
and Tilda's supposed to be like a blues singer in charge because that's what a banshee is. Banshees are like take charge type of person that are like blues singers though. Like they're
Are
you know they
they?
have yeah 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 they're dominant forces.
I mean,
So,
yes, agreed, dominant forces, but I don't necessarily
And she's
think
definitely
blues
not that.
singer.
But they had that blues. They like it's kind of like what's the
I would
movie that
have.
Chadwick Boseman was in with Viola Davis?
Oh, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Ma,
Bottom.
they like
Like
Ma Rainey,
Yeah,
they
it
controlling, and
would
they
have been
know what
much
they're doing.
better. They
Yeah,
needed a
then
black girl. They needed a black feminine energy.
and Abby and the succubus was supposed to be sexy and use their abilities, their voice, their pheromones, and Abby was not that. So I think that's what they're going for. Like they're traditionally what these creatures are supposed to be, but they're definitely not these people.
but maybe was the experiment then to bring out like the id, because the one character she turned into her id, so her unchecked emotion. Did
Yeah, Dr.
possibly the
Burke.
experiment kind of do that to them? Like we kind of got a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde things, and the I don't know, the gene acceleration turned them into what they were not in their normal form.
You don't
So
know.
like the guy who's the wolf, he's really kind of passive and things like that.
Chupacabra.
Like right, but his id is a wild feral beast that just cannot be contained. Like I don't know, maybe is that what they were trying to say? The
I don't
gene
know.
it
Yeah.
did.
Because
It's a
the guy that was strong with Copper too, the guy that was wanted to be a superhero. He always wanted to be a superhero, and he
I
wanted.
liked his character.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Yeah,
have I could have handled more of him.
he's
yeah.
like, I'm
Okay.
going to be a superhero.
All right. So, Courtney, you are an actress. How'd you think the casting contribute to the quality of this show?
Um, I think everybody did a good job per se.
Mhm.
Um, like I did like the characters, like who they were supposed to be. I think my problem was in the plot holes of each character's storyline. It's like they would introduce things that didn't move the story forward. Like, for instance, there was a plot hole where, oh, well, we don't know Dr. Burke's real secret. Or the black man with, like the agent, he was like, oh, I'm not gonna let you hurt my family. Who was your family? Who if y'all know who his family was, who was attacked, and then come to find out he might be a monster. Like, what? They were just I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with the acting. I thought everybody did the job, they understood the mission, and they fulfilled the parameters. I just think it was just kind of, and this is within the story, it was just kind of okay. Like nobody was ever really in danger for me. Like the stakes needed to be a lot higher.
I can
So
see
I
that.
guess that's in the
See that.
storytelling and in the direction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I,
good, Trey.
I something I found very interesting about this story does not deal with the characters was they try to play it out like it was Orphan Black. They try to make it Orphan Blackish. Like Orphan Black left a lot of empty gaping holes in the first season, but Orphan Black was so the story and everything around it was so amazing. And Tatiana, Mom Gonzalez, sold me.
Was lying. She just was engaging. Like
She was. You
you
could
just
take your
wanted
eyes
to
off her.
know. Yeah, because every
All
single
5 versions of her.
yeah, you couldn't tell me that was the same actress playing the same role, that those weren't quintuplets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every single character was special and had a spark, and you wanted to watch them. And these characters weren't like, they were special, but they didn't
Had the
like, I could
spark.
follow us. They didn't have a spark. It was
Mm-mm.
literally just people that just kind of showed up, learned their lines, and did the job.
They were kind of boring.
They were kind of
I mean,
boring.
they were boring. They were very boring.
And
They
no
were
matter
very basic.
All of them were.
and no matter how tried they had to take it higher, it just seemed like they were just more boring. The more energy they put behind
it was the
Yeah.
people around them that made it excited. Like Juan got more excited when Darcy was like, "Oh, you're a chupacabra? I'm all into this."
Yeah,
I'm all
Darcy,
into-
I really liked
Darcy
her.
was my girl. Yeah,
I,
she was
you know,
cute,
like,
too.
why was Darcy calling? Like, you really need to call me back. Like, what happened to what happened to Darcy? You know what I mean? Like,
She left him. He
no,
turned
but
chupacabra.
yeah, no, but she called him like in the last episode, was like, "Oh, you need to call me back. You need to call me back," and he never called her back. Cut to like he's a half chupacabra. Like, I mean,
and
you're right, Chuck. Like all the supporting cast, like the copper Owen, the copper guy, and Darcy, and Juan's little niece Paloma, not his brother, but Paloma was really interesting to me.
Yeah, his brother was an asshole.
He was
You're not gonna be here for her
ridiculous.
birthday. You're not gonna be here for her
And what's
birthday.
more important than your niece's birthday?
like I thought I was dying.
I would have shifted. I would have straight shifted into a chupacabra right then. Like, bruh, you tell me.
Yeah. And one of the things you guys just talked about, you said there were a lot of holes in the plots. But this series had 10 episodes. It was a 45 minutes to an hour. Right? Do we think that was sufficient time, and we shouldn't have got a series with so many plot holes?
Yeah, I think so. I think they purposely did it so they have follow-up seasons. Like even at the end when they showed Dr. Alex Sarkov was not a real human. Like he doesn't realize that he's not real.
He's a clone.
Yeah. He's not even real.
I think that they tried to introduce, I feel like they didn't know what to do with their series towards the end, towards the back half of they didn't know how to finish it, and they didn't know what to do with each of the characters, because there was no reason to introduce Abby's mother potentially having cancer. There was no reason to introduce like the detectives or the agents like secret family member. Like there was no reason to introduce like so many things, you know, like the Dr. Monday situation. I fell asleep on a lot of that because I was like, I don't know who she is or why they're going to her or where she came from. They could have stole that from Flux, you know what I mean? And just not involve this whole extra character that we don't know anything about, never heard about before. And yet here she is, and she's got secret nanobots. And the nanobots in and of themselves were a dropped plot. It's like you introduce the concept of nanobots, you have them take over one person, and then you never do anything with them ever again until she decides like, oh, some got away, I'm gonna find some nano. When did they get away?
And that's a problem. Like we had a lot of time. We should have been able to craft a narrative, a good narrative around these characters in the amount of time that was allotted for.
I think they were trying to do J.J. Abrams' mystery box on a budget.
Okay. I never saw a mystery box.
No, it's not his mystery box. That's the style of TV show that he does.
Oh, you mean the Bad Robot? Oh,
yeah, Bad Robot.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're
they
saying.
do mystery.
They wanted
mystery boxes. Like I answer one question, I introduce like 5 new ones, and never get around to them. And hopefully, you think I'm going to get around to them in future episodes or future seasons.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and I think that the problem for me is that they didn't introduce the mystery box concept until like episode 6. Like, or maybe it was like 4 or 5 when they brought in the whole concept of flux, like when they went to Portland and found like the biohackers. I fast forwarded through a lot of that episode just because I was so bored and it was so stupid. So then when Flux showed up, I was like, who are these people? And I just didn't care to rewind to find out who Flux was.
So the
And the fact that
biohack.
it was
With
like
a
the
lot of it,
flux
Courtney.
capacitor, like, is that what they were supposed to
Courtney,
be?
I felt away a lot of
So
that. Like I would fall asleep and I would wake up and I was just like, I don't care
so
to rewind it to find out what happened.
you all might have missed it. So
Man, I might have.
biohackers,
Probably.
the biohackers, they were not just talking to Flux, they were talking to like 5 other organizations. So there's other
I missed all
organizations
that.
out there.
Yeah, I missed all
Yeah,
that.
there's other organizations out there too
They
that
were too busy
Matthew
being
was
stupid.
dealing with, and he dealt with Flux because they were the ones that were most responsive to him. But he's been selling these stem cells everywhere. He's
No,
just
but who's Matt?
he's the guy he was the doctor that was that represented the
Well,
biohackers.
wasn't that Nate?
Nate, yes, Nate.
Oh, okay,
Nate,
that's the
yeah.
that's the Asian kid, right?
Yes, and then he took him. Say he took the cells himself and
Did
became
he
poisoned.
take the cell? When did he take the cells himself? Because I saw him like when
We saw him.
we saw Juan try and save
Chad.
Tilda and bit him, right? And then he turned to some like
No, Nate fell against the glass. All the glass cut through his body.
Oh, that's what. So he got all those all those different stem cells landed in him.
And
Okay,
but
he
had the weird arm. So they had
Yeah.
another person at the end that had a weird arm as well, and
I
that's supposed to
remember
for future seasons.
No, that was Sarkov as an old man.
Was that Sarkov as
Okay,
old man?
Yes.
The clone, the
The
young
clone.
version. Yeah.
So the clone, he cloned himself.
Okay.
And made a younger version. That was in.
That's right. That's right. He
like
did.
normal.
That's right. He did. That's right. He
He's
did.
normal
That's right.
because the whole time I could not get over that man's voice. His like broke ass New Zealand Kiwi accent that was like so high pitched and like brutal. It was brutal to listen to. He was worse than the Banshee sound.
And the way he just
I like Alex Sarkov. I liked him.
He was entertaining, but he was I couldn't take him seriously as an actor because I was like, are you taking your character seriously? Because I feel like you are just kind of like, I didn't think he was either because I didn't believe him. He was just so comedic and it was just, there was no part of realism at all. Do you know what I mean?
Felt like he was doing it because he had to pay the mortgage and he was waiting on a call from some better thing and nothing came through. And he's like, oh, guys, I got it. Now, one of the things I didn't know, it's a superhero movie or enhanced movie, enhanced characters. Could it have benefited from having a better budget? Because I don't feel like Netflix took that series. It looked generic.
They might have bought it. It may be a bought series from Netflix.
I feel like it was a bought situation.
Yeah,
because that did not have any Netflix flair, like per se The Witcher, or even like I just watched the season 2 of the Winx Club, Fate of the Winx, and even that was like, it was very kind of like simplistic, but it still had good storytelling that like you can have a I don't know what their budget was, but it looked like they spent a lot of money on locations and everything else was just kind of simplistic, and I was okay with that. This one, it looked regular. It looked like you got regular locations like alleys and generic looking clinics that didn't even have like pamphlets or paintings on the wall, or even like to look like it might be pretend. Or these people been getting pills for like 12 years and you mean to tell me they've never been back to see this person? They just been getting prescriptions in the mail. Like you don't have any follow-ups. Like it was just like, who does that? Who just like doesn't, I don't know. It's just things that just didn't make sense realistically. And I get that it's not a real world, but these are people within scenarios and situations that are,
we have a lot of superhero things that are not in the real world, and we're like, yeah, I get it. So Chuck, I want to ask you, man, who do you think the target audience of this series was?
I think it was a tween show. I think it was a tween show. It was more or less it was a YA show, but it was definitely more boyish YA in a sense. So boys could watch it. I mean, it was weird. It was really weird, but it's definitely a YA show. It just didn't remind us of typical YA. And I think that they were actually trying to fight all. It was one of these shows that said, "Hey, let's beat all the stereotypes. Let's do something completely. Let's do something that's the
Every
same,
trope that we've ever
but
seen
different. Let's go
from
against every
X-Men
trope."
to
Hmm
to
Yeah.
Avengers to
Like Hannah
Justice
never
League.
giving in to Abby. Like
Well,
girl
here's
meets
the
girl in
thing.
love, and she's like, "I don't like you, bitch. Stay away from me forever."
I mean, that whole thing was like, it was forced. That
Yeah,
whole relationship was
it was
forced.
so forced.
Like it came out of nowhere, first of all. And then it was really kind of the only character that I got anything from who had a clear romantic arc was Hannah. Like Abby, I didn't like hers was just like, okay, I'm saying lines. Like I didn't believe that she really
Liked Hannah, but
I
she
mean,
did. She's the one
it's
who
like
came on to
she
Hannah.
did. She did.
Yeah.
Exactly. She came on to Hannah, but like it felt forced. It
Hmm
didn't feel authentic. I didn't have
I thought Darcy
concerns
and
or
Juan's
joy.
relationship. I thought
Hmm?
Darcy and Juan's relationship was real.
I agree. I thought
Yeah,
they
that
had
was.
great chemistry.
Hmm
They had great chemistry from the beginning, and I was rooting from them for them.
hmm
Where it became a problem for me though is her they never had a clear, even though they held hands in like episode 10,
hmm
like her reaction to like her boyfriend like dying, like the on again off again with her boyfriend, like there really wasn't any. I never saw her being conflicted, if that
No.
makes sense. I
Yeah,
never
and the
saw
way
her
she
being
snitched on
conflicted.
him. The way she snitched on him to Flux. I was like, really?
I
This is what
was
you're gonna
so
do to your
confused.
boy? I was mad
Yeah,
at that. Because you
I was
heard
so
he was on
confused
a
about that
road
whole
trip with two other
relationship.
women. And it's
Oh,
like
that was Darcy. Oh, Darcy.
Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy.
Yeah.
I was talking about Tilda and her boyfriend,
Oh yeah.
PJ, who
Yeah.
got
That
killed.
yeah,
But
that was
Darcy, yeah, I was done with Darcy. I was like, you literally sent people after him to his
I
brother's house that threatened his
yes.
niece. Like, I'm sorry, I was done with Darcy after that.
Yeah.
It was everything about that relationship. One minute they were in love, one minute she was the head of the band, then they were arguing and she was kicked
Tilda.
out and she had a crush, and then it was just
Hmm
like, and she was back with the boyfriend, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I needed him to go away sooner
What is going
Yeah.
so that then she could really solidify that relationship with Juan. And I just never really felt like it.
And they didn't, right? And we
They
had
didn't. They didn't.
we
They
had
didn't.
Because then she
yeah,
left.
yeah,
Because the writers said, "Hey, we're gonna make this YA, but we're not gonna make it typical YA where everybody expects it to happen. So we're gonna do
and
what's
I can get,
unexpected."
yeah, I can get in why, because what was it, the new version of the Kung Fu one that we watched? It's a CW show, and it's
Yeah.
super YA. But I understood the mission, right? I understood the love triangle. I understood the karate, and I was like, hey, I'm here for it. I think I gave it a full binge out or a full meal. I was there for it. I didn't get that from this show at all.
No,
Didn't.
I enjoyed, like, I'm like you, Randy. Kung Fu was like, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Mark Savoy.
Mark Savoy said, "I'm afraid he missed our rating of the show. I'm afraid Netflix will abandon this one." Mark, we're not afraid that Netflix will abandon this one. I don't think our
I
rating was
think
not too high this show.
Yeah.
I
Courtney gave it a snack. I gave it a snack, and Chuck gave it a mini meal.
mini
So
meals. I gave it a 3.
that's a cumulative of a 2.33. So right now we have it as a snack.
Snack.
but
Mhm.
Mark, tell us what was your favorite part in
Yeah.
the series?
Yeah. What was your
Like,
favorite part, Mark?
yeah,
And
like
with
help
Mark, then I
us.
wanted to ask you all: were there any like powers or anything that stood out to you guys during the series?
Um, I really liked Tilda's power. I don't know how she got to be immortal. I don't know how she could not die, but I'm here for her abilities. It was really, she was a dope banshee. She had so many different layers to her ability. Like it wasn't just the sound that she could control it, but she could also, her supersonic hearing gave her so many different options. She
Yeah.
was probably my favorite. her and Copper Dude. I felt weird about the dude who the precursor to Hannah, because I feel like he's alive in a sewer somewhere.
What about you,
Yeah.
Chuck? Any powers stand
I,
out to
I,
you?
I liked Abby's power because she thought she had pheromones to make people attracted to her, but she was giving off sense that could do other things as well, like make people aggressive and angry.
I like
Fear.
Weird. Yep.
I like though that the pheromones were dependent on how she felt. Because
Yes.
when she went to go see the one person and the pheromones came out, the cop got really aggressive and nervous, and she said, "You're scared because I'm
I'm
scared."
scared.
Then
Yeah.
she
Yep.
had to pull it back and like, okay. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I can get
Yeah, I
it. So
like
it's like
that. I like that.
passing energy off. And I like the copper dude. I thought he was funny for his little role in
Yeah.
there. You know,
I liked him too.
he really did want to be a superhero.
He really did. He
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah. Wesley Owen.
Owen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I liked what Owen said to Juan, because when that scene between him and Juan was so good, when when Juan asked him to help and go and look for Sarkov. And then after like Juan, I think Juan killed somebody to try and save Owen because Owen wouldn't leave or whatever. And Owen was like, you were the one person I wasn't worried about, because you're the one who told me it doesn't matter what powers you get. It's the person who makes the superhero.
Yep.
And I thought that was such a good scene. That was one of the best scenes in the series.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a good moment, and it was such a good learning exercise for Juan. And it was a connection for Juan to have a connection to somebody outside of the main core group of people.
Yeah. And it was Owen who didn't look at it as a curse to have these powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like everybody else looked at it as a curse because it was so not them, right? That's why I think that's what the creators are going for. But Mark said he liked Tilda, but he feels the actress was up and down.
Yeah.
I agree with him on that.
I
Like
agree.
sometimes I thought Tilda was on point. Other times I thought it was just a actress reading lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, she was like if Kristen Ritter and Anne Hathaway had a baby.
I never heard that combination. That is awesome.
But am I wrong? Like,
the dude that
lie?
exploded him and the dude that exploded himself, right? They gathered him all back up together again, and he hasn't come to life back yet.
That's what I said. I think he's in the sewers.
Yep, probably so. Probably so.
Yeah. Okay.
Or he's in a house somewhere.
Okay. What other plot points did you guys want to touch on as we continue our evaluation?
I like to touch on Flux, the enemies, like who's the real villain in this.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel like they were villains. I feel like they were doing the job.
Like anybody was a villain. They were doing their job, and there were dangers with people with enhanced abilities who couldn't control them. And so I felt like, I don't know, I didn't feel like they went overboard with it either. The black guy, I had some empathy for him, and the one woman who was the head of the agency, I thought she was just trying to do
Dr. Kane.
Dr. Kane.
She Flux to me was I thought they had a really interesting end game, in the sense of I do think they wrapped her up a little too quickly. I would have loved to have seen her go down as opposed to just hearing about it later. You know what I mean? I think they ran out of time at that point, or money, or didn't utilize her timing well on set. But I thought that the idea that she was, funding other biohacker research so that she could keep her organization in business, I thought that was interesting.
I thought that was cool.
I thought that was a really interesting turn.
It reminded me of The Witcher. They were keeping creatures alive so they can stay in business.
Well, now it's less interesting because you're right. Now they stole that idea from somebody else.
They might have always had it. They might have always had it. They might not gotten it from The Witcher. And
this is an original series. Like, it's from Marvel, from my understanding.
No,
it's a spin-off from it's a spin-off from
Marvel Nemesis. Yeah,
Marvel
Rise
Nemesis.
of the Imperfects.
I think it was a video game. Yeah, it's a video game. And so
Okay,
that is the
okay.
origin story. Now I'm pretty sure Marvel was like, yeah, y'all can have that one. Netflix. Is it because Marvel takes little known properties and make them big? So,
Yeah, that's all right. They're gonna take this back.
they're like, go ahead, Netflix, y'all can.
They're gonna
We'll
take it
let you
back.
have this one, right?
Yeah,
So,
they be like, you know
so
what, you fucked
maybe,
up.
yeah. So maybe that was a plot line.
Hey, you guys. Mark said not Kristen Ritter and Anne Hathaway. Oh, yeah. I agree
Where's
with him.
the lie?
I like Sarkoff and Sydney's relationship. I like their relationship. That was the one relationship I did like. Even when she transformed into her Hyde side, I like how he dealt with him. I like
Does Sydney
Sarkov. I don't
know?
know.
Do you think Sydney knew that he was a clone?
No, I don't think she
But
knows.
how did her id know if she didn't know? That says to me that her
Because
id was always there.
her id was hunting, always hunting them down and trying to find out where he was at. So her id will figure that out.
Maybe she does know and she hid it.
I think
That's
she
why.
Or
does
she hid it
know.
back there.
That's why the
Maybe.
id does know.
I think she has to know because if she knew him as he was a little kid, I think she had to know. You know, like there was a scene where she said something about like, you know, there was the secret mystery box moment of like, well, he has to know, and like we don't want him to find out like who he really like. And I don't remember who it was in reference to. I think it was them, but she has to know because there's no
Maybe.
way that unless she always had a split personality, just her AGDS allowed her to finally shift into a complete entity version of herself.
Yeah, they were two separate
And I didn't
individuals.
get the impression that she always had the split
She
personality.
didn't know. She didn't know she had a split
Yeah,
personality till
yeah,
they
and
told her.
yeah. So I
Right.
feel like she's the kind of character who would hide something, right?
I
Yeah.
Never bring
agree.
it to fruition, never do
Yeah.
that. When those genes kicked in,
Like
like
Isabella
anything
Finch
she
would
was
hide it
ever
from her.
scared to say, that she was ever scared to say or ever scared to do, that's when it came to fruition. So I feel like
Right.
she did know.
Because
So I
she
mean,
didn't know Isabella Finch existed until they pulled the clothes out the vent
Yeah.
and found the phone.
I think that's a plot hole again. I feel like they didn't know quite where to go with these characters. And so they
Yeah.
kind of created things and then was like, "Oh, we're figuring it out on our way." You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Season 2. Start with you, Courtney. Would you be interested in a season 2? Mark, I'm gonna ask you too. Would you be interested in a season 2?
I probably would watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would. Just because I'm a sucker for a good superhero situation. It's not even necessarily if it's if it's great. I mean, I would have watched a season 2 of Jupiter's Legacy and it was
Oh Lord.
terrible. It was terrible. I still would have watched a season 2, you know.
Me too. I was hoping to have been in season 2. See
So
what
you're
happens.
To see
well,
if
we
they
don't
could
know
fix
yet.
it.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
Well, no, I'm
This
not about of this one, yeah, but I think they could have
yeah.
told it in 8 episodes. This is the one time I think you
I
did not
thought
need.
10 and at 45 minutes to an hour was a bit much. I mean, Game of Thrones can do it in 8. Like, I don't know why we needed 10 episodes for this series.
Mark came in and said, "Hell yeah, he wants a season 2."
Okay, all right. So, Chuck, you want a season 2?
Yeah.
You're interested in season 2? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm interested in it. I'm interested to see what questions they answer. Do they answer the questions they ask?
Well, yeah, because they left the people in peril. Everybody except
Mhm.
Tilda. Everybody who took the cure, who took
Still
the quote unquote
transforms.
cure is still, like it took a different form per se. You know what I mean? Like Juan and his chupacabra still he's still in there. And I don't know what's happening with Abby and her like cocoon. She trapped inside her own like bodily fluids.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was the most interesting thing that happened to her, to be honest.
Mark is killing it in the chat. He said, "I won't hold my breath. I'm still waiting for season 2 of Daybreak."
Mark, you can be waiting forever on that one.
Wait, that's a vampire movie?
Yeah, that's the Matt vampire movie.
Oh goodness.
There's no the vampire show. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
All right.
I'm
So
still waiting on season 2 of the Nevers. I need them to fix that mess, and I don't
oh,
think
I
they
thought
ever
that was
will.
done. I
I think
thought when
that's done.
whatchamacallit got fired from it, I thought it was done.
They said it was
Especially
the
with
first half, but like, it was only
right,
6
and we still have
episodes,
not
and
got any word about that. And
nope,
if
it
the way
hasn't been
things are
officially
going to
canceled
discover,
yet.
yeah, with the way things are going to discover, but no, they probably would renew a season 2 with the way things are going in Warner Brothers Discovery. Yeah, that's right up their alley. Like, yeah,
That's
let's
all
finish
right.
the second part.
That's all right. They just gonna change Joss Whedon's name to like his name is gonna be like
Whedon Joshua.
Wesley. It'll be Wesley Joseph.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're gonna be who is it? Who is this new writer, Wesley Joseph? There's no photograph.
Yeah. The
all
last
right.
two, yeah.
Mark said, "Nah, it's the zombie show in the vein of Zombieland." So that's what.
Zombieland, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So guys, I feel like we've talked about it. Let's go ahead and re-rate it. So I started off. I've closed off the first segment, so I'll jump right in here, and I feel comfortable with my rating. It didn't go down. I didn't hate it. Didn't hate it, because we've had some shows that was like, oh my god, but it didn't. This conversation didn't help me to improve it, and quite honestly, I don't want to see season 2. So I'm coming in firmly at a snack. All right, Courtney, what about you? How are you gonna re-rate it?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go up to where Chuck is. I'll say mini meal.
Oh, you gonna
I'm
leave me
gonna
out
go
there.
up to mini meal because there were some moments that I did like it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, and I did have problems
Don't-
with it, but I did finish, and I was determined to finish because I was hopeful.
And don't Chuck for a mini meal. It's not like it was really good. Don't for a mini meal. Come on, man.
Man, why you putting all this extra on it? Let her have her mini meal in peace. Let her have her mini meal in
I
peace.
was talking about you talking about it was good. Not for a mini meal.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, I understand. I'm glad you
He
understood.
convinced me. He convinced me to come up. Him and Mark, they both helped me.
You're just a hater. You're just mad because we abandoning you. You're by yourself on Snack Island. You by yourself.
Snack Island. You have to eat the chips all by yourself, Randy.
All by myself,
I
man.
mean, I literally binged this show. I binged it. I went right through it because I wanted to know what happened next and where it was going. And I didn't think it was all bad. I thought it needed some enthusiasm. The direction could have been better. I don't think the actors did a bad job. I think the actors played their part. I think they had immature directors. And it felt like they had immature directors. And it felt like they had a young film crew on it as well.
Yeah.
I think they would have upped all that up. And I think when Netflix ordered it, they're like, we're ordering something just simple. Maybe somebody will like it. Because they're in that business of it's for somebody. And it may not be for me, but I can imagine a 15-year-old boy or girl watching this and like, oh, this is okay.
I don't know.
And it's different than it's different than everything on CW, right? They're like, we want to do a CW show, but not making CW. It's kind of what Pixar did with Brave. And what Disney tried to do with Wreck-It Ralph. Like Wreck-It Ralph is a princess movie. And Brave is the princess movie, but it's not like a princess movie. Like we're gonna break all the tropes that we come to understand in Western princess movies with Brave. I think they try to do that with YA shows.
The problem is for me is that everything is just going into this idea of everything is very here. All the actors are on the very same wavelength. Nobody is too much or too low.
Turn the trap music.
Everybody is right here in the middle and basic. And that's a problem for me because if everybody's on the same energy, it's just not interesting.
Yeah.
Like somebody go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry
No,
about
no,
that.
No. No. I just wanted to say that like I just feel like that's what makes shows special is that everybody brings something different to the table. Like if you think about like Game of Thrones, like, and I'm not talking about House of Dragon, I'm talking about Game of Thrones. every single character from Littlefinger to Cersei to Tyrion to Jaime to Jon Snow and Daenerys. It varies. You know what I mean? Like everybody brought a different perspective and energy, and it made it a cohesive journey that like I didn't know who to root for because I was team this person. You know, even like terrible shows like Twilight. You got your Jacob, who he and the wolves are like this, and you got your vampires that are like this.
Jacob and what's
You know,
my name?
you were team somebody, you know what I mean?
Team Jacob and team
Edward.
Edward,
Edward.
yeah.
But you just it gave you options. And this type there's a trend that's happening now that a lot of shows, and I saw it a lot in the Fate of the Winx Club, everybody was on the same energy wavelength. And I think it's a very I'm seeing a lot in like the Gen Z grouping of shows because it's that and androgyny is the wrong word, but it's the cohesive, like the just general,
the sameness.
Everything what they see as equality is just very sameness.
Mid. That's what Mark called it.
Mark calls it mid. It is what kids call mid. Yeah, it is that. I think a lot that goes with direction. That goes with the experience of direction, right? And it's probably our generation doing the direction of this. We finally got in positions. We're 50 years old, and we finally got in position to direct something because now the baby boomers are dying off and they do TV direction and whatnot. So we didn't get promoted. We got slotted into a spot.
Participation trophy. It's participation trophy.
Yeah.
Participation trophy.
I stuck in here long enough to finally get the directing spot. And since I've never directed, I direct like I'm 15 years old, 18 years old, because I've been in this role for the last 20 years as the AD.
And I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, so I'm not going to offend anybody.
Yep. So I'm going to keep it even right now. Yep. That's us.
It's on you, man. How are you going to re-rate it?
I'm gonna stick with my same rating. It's gonna be a mini meal. Because I found this intriguing. I found the actors okay. I was like, they could have made Tilda more wild. You're a singer in a rock band, and you're this damn mellow, and you have such an attitude. And Abby, you're a genius that goes to go to Oxford, and you got the power of pheromones, and you're sexy.
And she's real beautiful, and it's like you have a problem. You're having a real problem.
Like she should have been the nerd girl that leaned all the way into that. Like she should have leaned all the way into that. You know, the only person I seen lean into anything was Hannah. Juan was a comic book creator, but he was like super shy, but guy had the hot girlfriend.
Interesting though. Like he wasn't interested.
He wasn't interested in all.
The guy would have like super creative, super smart. Like he would have been interested. And to me, he just was not.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the one with the rock girl chick. I didn't get the anger. It seemed like she was just angry for some reason. And
she had angst. She had angst as an adult. I'm like, why are you so angsty? You know, you should have been like, I'm a rock star. Y'all should be bowing down to me. That's what I feel like a banshee should be. But I think they're trying to play off that's what a banshee would be. She's a singer too. So we're gonna make her opposite personality to what a real banshee is. Oh, she's a succubus. She's sexy and she uses her sex appeal. We're gonna make it the opposite of that. Oh, he's a chupacabra. He's supposed to be a tough guy. We're gonna make him a soft comic book maker.
And I
think that's where they started from. I think that's where
I think that's what I think that, and I think it ties back into the id super id. It was kind of like we're going to make them the opposite of what their enhancement
what the perceived societal how society would perceive them. You know, because like Tilda, even when you saw Tilda at the end in her like crazy red like high heel chunky shoes and her like nobody can superhero in that outfit.
Yeah, that was
like
whack.
I mean that was her outfit was super whack. I'm sorry, whack. Like that was just like, and I brought the word whack back just to describe that outfit.
And that premise is not bad. It's just I found the execution of it didn't deliver. That's it. I just found the execution.
But I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful because for the most part, I did I liked the upper half of the series more than the latter half of the series. The latter half of the series is when I start speeding through it. Because I was like, y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all either ran out of money or ran out of time.
That could have been
And
a thing.
Or the writer
don't know.
the writer ran off, but the direction I thought was weak too. But I
Yeah.
like that. I liked Alex. Alex was the only person because he was a comic book character, right? He was off the
No, you talking
chain
about
for me.
Juan? Wait, Alex was
Alex, the
the
doctor, the
scientist. Yeah.
doctor.
It was
Yeah,
just his
I
voice.
I
And then
loved
I
his
found out
voice. He was and I he was
then you see the old Alex with the weird finger at the end who's like
yeah
normal. And I
yeah. I
was
was
like,
like
you mean you could have been like some sameness?
because Alex was a hot mess. He was a hot mess. It was like we want you to be a hot mess that would be on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And we want you to be like the sixth guy that they had to kick off the show for being a hot mess.
Oh my God. You know, the
And he
one
was
scene I
so
did
that.
like with him when I thought he was actually present was when the flashback scene of him and Abby and they were in the restaurant and she was trying to get him to talk to the guy and he was like, what if he rejects me? You know what I mean? He was like, no, emphatically no. And then it was like, well, what if he rejects me? You know, and then you see him about to and you're thinking like maybe he's going to talk to this guy and then he decides ultimately no.
No.
Then
Yeah.
but then the facade goes right back up.
Yeah.
So
It let you know he was a facade.
it let you know exactly like there was a real person in there. Yeah.
Throughout the show, he didn't give a fuck about nobody. I'm about my science. I'm saving humanity. Y'all don't see that?
It was
I'm
like, yeah, I
saving
don't
humanity.
care. Stick Juan.
Stick one. I don't care. I
That was
like
funny.
he had all kinds of quips. He was all smart alecky. I was like, who's this guy? Oscar Wilde? That's who he
All right, so
reminded
that
me
gives
of.
us a cumulative score of 2.66, and we can round that up. So we're gonna come in at a mini meal. So
Got mini meal. Okay.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
all right, Miss Courtney Wright Scott Wright, you got anything to say before we head out, ma'am?
Geek out and good night.
All right, Chuck, what about you? You got anything to say before we head out?
I look forward to season 2.
Oh Lord, good for you. All right. Next week we are doing Intergalactic. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's gonna be interesting. What do you,
Okay.
you yeah. It's with Kid Cudi, and I think the guy who did Blackish is
King of Bears.
King of Bears.
Is it animated?
It's animated.
Okay.
She's like, I'm on board if it's animated.
It's like that sounds a whole lot of. I mean, I was on board anyway. You know, I'll be on the
It's
train, but I'll
animated,
be in the
but
snack car if it was live action.
I don't want to see a live action Kid Cudi show. I just
Yeah.
don't.
I mean,
But I
let's
feel
be
like
honest. No, he did a really good live action show though. How
live
to
action
make it in How to Make
How
It
to
in
Make It in
America?
America. How to Make
Yeah,
It in
that
America
was
was
really good.
Oh, I never saw it.
It was like Entourage before they became famous. I think that was the thing it was trying to feel. It was really good. It came out like right after Entourage went off, and it took place in
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a fashion line, and Kid Cudi was one of their homeboys. It
Yeah.
got 2 seasons.
Oh, I vaguely remember hearing about this.
Did it get 2 seasons? I only got 1.
Nope, it got 2.
I gotta watch the second season
The
then.
first one they were coming up, and then the second one they actually got the Crisp. Crisp was the denim line or the T-shirt line that they created, and the second season was about them coming back to the States after Crisp was an actual company. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
I like that show. Rodney said he actually liked it. I liked it too.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack was dope. I need
Yeah.
the dollars. Yeah, dollars. That's what I need. Yeah, that was dope. All right. So we're doing that for everybody out in the chat. Mark, thanks you for participating, man. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you
Thanks,
joining
Mark.
in your commentary. You know.
Yeah.
Want to give a shouts out as always to Digital Click. They provide our design and our backgrounds and our border. They do excellent job for your promotional and marketing needs. Please consider working with Digital Click. Our producer, the guy in the sky, Roddy, thank you for all the behind the scenes work that you do. You know, you keep us looking fly as well. The Geekish Network, we are a network devoted to people of color. You know, we have people in front of the cameras, you know, actors and talent talent. We have people behind the cameras, writers, directors, producers, tech people, and we do this to bring content for people who look like you. So please support us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitch, and subscribe to our channel. Support us. All right, with that being said, as we talked about, we're going to do Intergalactic next week. So please come back and join us. As Courtney always said, same geek time, same geek channel. Peace.